his district with honor. ML has been keeping an eye on the freshman representative. So, ML, how's he doing on making those changes?
Well, Monica and Huell, I suspect the answer depends on who you ask. For his landlord who wants to evict him, the new Brian Banks looks a whole lot like the old Brian Banks.
And I've learned from my mistakes. I take full responsibility. I've tried to work doubly hard to show that I'm rehabilitated.
That was Brian Banks shortly after he was elected state representative. His past, by the way, includes multiple felony convictions and multiple home evictions. Oh, and we were waiting to speak to him when the repo man made the scene. That's Banks' Land Rover getting hauled away for failure to pay his loan. When Mr. Banks got to Lansing, he said he was looking forward to a fresh start.
It's a great day. The voters in my district have spoken, and I look forward to representing District 1 here in Lansing. And my past is simply that, just my past.
After getting down to business, Mr. Banks co-sponsored 17 bills. But there's one bill that he hasn't addressed, his rent. His landlord says he wants to evict Banks after he bounced this check. Banks' lawyer says he's in a dispute with his landlord and is paying his rent into escrow. His landlord says that's the first he's heard of any dispute. And local officials here, well, they say there's no escrow account. Banks supposedly couldn't meet with me on Friday because he was busy meeting with seniors. When I called City Hall, officials there told me while I was on the phone that a man matching Banks' description came in and tried to create an escrow account to pay rent to, who else? Banks' landlord. This is very curious. If Banks was meeting with seniors, why is his doppelganger trying to pay his rent? And if he's paying rent to an escrow account that may or may not exist, why did he write this rubber check to his landlord? This was all news to Banks' landlord, of course. When I contacted him, he said he has received no complaints from Banks or his housemate or their attorney. Instead, he said in an email from Alaska, where he lives, I have text message after text message assuring me that the rent has been sent. As for those repair issues, the landlord says the garage door was repaired a few months after Banks moved in. Even though he says Banks never complained about code violations, he acknowledges some minor ones, and he says they will be fixed when the weather gets better. Ms. Bradley, it's ML Elric calling from Fox 2 News. Banks also put his lawyer on the case. She said she could explain it all away. She couldn't meet with us on Friday, so at her request, we called her Monday morning. Ms. Bradley, it's ML Elric. It's now afternoon. When we didn't hear back, we stopped by her office. A few hours later, after stopping by Banks' house, for now, Banks canceled our meeting. So as we wait for new answers to his new problems, all we're left with are Mr. Banks' dubious pledge from his appearance a few months ago on Let It Rip.
My past is just that. My past is my past.
Banks sent this statement about an hour ago saying he has been, quote, patient in working with the landlord for months to repair several habitability issues, end quote. He included a copy of a Western Union payment sent after I started asking questions. The landlord says he hasn't received the payment, and I think I know why. Banks misspelled his landlord's name.